welcome back to another episode of High on the Reef. This is my how to start a saltwater aquarium video and my new build. So let's get started. Started off with the aquarium. I got a Lifeguard Aquatics full view aquarium. I think it was like 80 bucks or something online. It seemed pretty interesting, so it caught my eye. So I'm pretty much going to show you the unboxing and features for this tank. Now, I primarily do nano tanks because of the limited space that I have in my living situation, but this pretty much is going to cover, this video is going to cover the basics that you need to get started in any type of aquarium, especially if you're doing nano aquariums. So this kit's actually pretty cool. You can get an upgraded kit with a light and stuff, but the light is the most important part of an aquarium, especially if you're doing corals. So I prefer to buy that separately so that I know that I'm getting a decent light for the money. So it does come with a leveling mat, or you can get that separately. You know, leveling mats are cool because it's going to keep your aquarium from having pressure points, which could help keep the seals in line so it doesn't leak and stuff like that. So I always pretty much use one. All nano tanks nowadays pretty much come with one, so you usually don't have to worry about buying one separately. So this tank was actually pretty cool because it's kinda got a trapezoid kind of look to it. Its front glass is slanted, I think about 30 degrees, so you have a full view when you're standing up and if it's in a low area. So it does come with a glass lid, which is pretty nice that they thought about that, and for the money I think it's a pretty good deal. So yeah, you know, I saw these at Reefapalooza, so I thought it'd be pretty cool to try. So for filtration, the stock filtration on this thing kind of sucks in my opinion. It just comes with like these bio balls with carbon in it, and I'm not too into it, so I pretty much gutted the whole thing, and I'm gonna add some Chemi Pure, some reef glass skimmer, or filter stock or something. So lighting, I don't exactly know what I'm gonna get yet. Probably an AI Prime or a Kessel if you guys have those and you're watching this video. And you have like good experiences with them, please let me know, or any bad experiences too. So yeah, these bio balls have like carbon in them, which is a pain in the ass because you're gonna have to switch out the carbon. So it's not really worth having those in there unless you're willing to switch out the carbon, which is fine. It has biomedia in there for surface area. I have my own, so I just pretty much threw that one away. And this carbon, as you can see, got everywhere. It spilled. It was like that in the box. The Lifeguard Aquatics pump is actually pretty quiet, so I am using that, and it comes with its own sponge filter so it doesn't get clogged, which is really nice. So RockSand, I use pretty much Reef Saver rock from BRS, and the sand I typically use Fiji Pink because sand has different granule sizes, so Fiji Pink works the best for me. For like medium to high flow tanks, it's pretty nice. So yeah, I ordered a bunch of rock off of BRS, and it was kind of big, so I had to break it up using a chisel and a hammer. It was an experience. If you've never done it before, I'm not the type of person that kind of just lays big pieces of rocks in an aquarium and stacks like a couple of them. I like to build I don't know, like sculptures kind of, I guess, just little towers and stuff and overhangs that'll make the reef kind of look interesting. I'm not into the rock wall look. I'm kind of a minimalistic person, so I actually take the time to do this. You don't have to for your projects, but honestly it's just another step, and it's actually pretty satisfying to know that you built the rock structures that your corals are on, while keeping in mind where they should go and what kind of environment that you're looking for. So I think it's pretty cool. So it is kind of hard and noisy, so I suggest you do this in a place where you won't get any complaints. And I live in an apartment, so it was like midday when I did this, so I was pretty okay. I didn't get any complaints, but it is pretty loud, and sometimes the rock doesn't break the way you want it, but that's kind of the cool part of it too. You get a bunch of pieces and it's like a puzzle, so you just put those pieces together to get your final product. So it took a lot of elbow grease to do this. So while you're watching this, I also wanted to let you guys know that if you have any suggestions on any lights or anything you want to see in this aquarium, I'm pretty much open to it. Any corals that you'd want me to grow in a nano aquarium, like it can be anything, SPS, LPS, I'm pretty sure I can keep it thriving. My 10-gallon has a lot of, it's like a mixed reef, so it has a lot of stuff. I have a clam in there, it's been doing well so far. You guys will be able to see that in the next update, but yeah, so if you guys want to see anything in this tank specifically, any types of fish, I'm pretty much open to it right now. So just let me know in the comment section below. So after you get your rock and sand, which is pretty much crucial, you want to kind of lay everything out in the tank when it's dry first, so that you see how it's going to look. And keep in mind that if you are adding sand, it is gonna cover some of the rocks, so you're not going to see, it's not going to be the exact same thing that you're viewing when you're setting it all up when the tank is dry. So keep that in mind, and yeah, you just pretty much, like I'm doing here, you just stack it as you go, and then if you like it, you glue it together, whatever. It usually takes me a while to do this. It took me like 2 hours, I think, something like that, 2 or 3 hours to do it. It doesn't need to take that long. I'm just really bad at it, and I don't know, I'm kind of picky when it comes to stuff like that. So yeah, another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about when you get this aquarium is the nozzle. You can see that the nozzle in the on the right side of the tank, you know, the return nozzle, it's kind of open, so you're going to have a very wide flow pattern. You can switch those out, so I do recommend not having such a wide flow pattern unless you really like it. With my Nuvo 10, I have like the Innovative Marine kind of random flow generator thing, so that works pretty well. I'm probably planning to 3D print one of those and put those on this tank, because it's kind of too big for this tank. This tank is very small. The other thing I wanted to point out was this tank comes with like a CO2 kind of dosing option. I pretty much removed the tube, and I didn't even plug up the hole because it doesn't really matter. So I just kind of left it like that. I mean, you could use it if you're doing a freshwater planted tank for like CO2 or air or whatever, but don't really need it for a saltwater aquarium, so I just took it out. So as of right now, I'm planning to have a sailfin goby in here. I think those guys are pretty neat. They pretty much perch on the rocks and hide inside rockworks and stuff, so they have pretty nice personalities. So if you guys have any suggestions that'll go with that, maybe a clownfish or something, I'm not sure, please let me know in the comment section below. So as you can see, it takes a while and it gets dusty, and you guys want to dust the or vacuum kind of the aquarium so you don't get all that dust anywhere. It's just my personal preference, but yeah, so when you glue this stuff together, I use like a glue accelerator I got from BRS, and I use the regular super glue. It works just fine. It cures in a couple seconds. It really cures and it hardens within like an hour or something, but it sticks together in a couple seconds, which is nice. So the next thing you guys need for your aquarium is water. So you can get water from your local fish store, which is probably what most people are going to do when they're starting out, but I usually get RO water from the fish store, and I mix it myself. I have a couple pumps running with a heater, and then I have a bucket of salt that I just pour in there, and I measure the salinity using a refractometer. So that's pretty much the most accurate way to measure salinity, unless you have a digital reader. But those hydrometers, they're pretty decent when you're starting out, but I would upgrade to a refractometer, especially if you're doing SPS, which is small polyp stony corals. I'll make a video of that later if you guys don't know what that is. So it honestly, it is worth the $40. You can pick them up for cheaper if you get them off your like eBay or secondhand stores or whatever. But I do use the Coral Pro salt, and it has elevated levels of calcium, magnesium, and alkalinity, which is nice for my Nuvo, which has a lot of stuff in it. So that's the refractometer. So you can get one of these for like 40 bucks, like I said. It's kind of essential, honestly, if you're trying to maintain your parameters, especially in nano tanks. So nano tanks tend to fluctuate in salinity a lot, so you kind of do need to be on top of that. So yeah, so when you guys add the sand, I recommend adding the sand probably first. The sand is bioactive, so it does have like dormant bacteria in it, and this bacteria is going to help with your filtration, and that's what makes it live sand. So you don't need live sand either. You can get like dry sand or something, just something that fits your needs. So I do plan to have like a power head on this tank, just for flow and circulation, for a little extra help there. So I needed the granules to be kind of medium sized, so they won't blow around when the power head's on. So that's why I got the Fiji pink, and I usually go with carob seed. This is the brand that I usually go with, but you can get any brand, it doesn't really matter, as long as you like the sand that you're choosing, and you know, it's pretty much aesthetic. You don't need sand. My Nuvo 10 doesn't have sand, and it does just fine. It's actually a lot easier to maintain without sand, in my opinion, but I'm going to try this thing out on this 5-gallon right here. So yeah, so the aquarium is actually pretty nice. I didn't talk about it earlier, but since we're just watching this, the black silicone is very, very nice touch to it. So I like that it's an all-in-one as well. They have the regular versions that aren't all-in-one, and I don't really recommend getting those, because an all-in-one, they have the option, so might as well get the all-in-one. It's going to hide your filtration media anyway. So and when you're adding water to a new tank, if you have an established tank, I recommend using water from an established tank that's well off, because you're going to get all the good bacteria, copepods, which are like little microscopic bugs and stuff that are in the water, and that's very healthy for an aquarium. So I do recommend to do what I'm doing here, and I pretty much took, I think, like 2 gallons from my Nuvo 10, and I added it to this aquarium, and then I topped off my Nuvo with fresh salt water, and then I added fresh salt water to this tank. So it kind of just helps with the cycling process. So you do also have to cycle the tank, and the cycling process it varies from tank to tank. I kept this tank cycling for like a month or something. It basically, to start a cycle, you need a source of ammonia, which is like a dead shrimp or something, like something that's decaying. It could be food. You can just throw some fish food in there every like week or so or whatever, and then you need to check your nitrate and ammonia levels. When your ammonia is all gone and your nitrate's a little elevated, then it's time for a water change, and you can add a fish. I don't really recommend starting off with a fish because it kind of stresses the fish out. I also recommend some export biomedia. You don't have to use the Brightwell Aquatic stuff. It really doesn't matter what you use. It's just ceramic media that provides surface area. Now this comes in handy a lot later. So I did seed this tank. I had some of this media in my 10-gallon tank for like 3 or 4 months, so it does have some bacteria in it, and I just throw it in the back chambers there to get some good bacteria and good populations going in this tank. So that's always a plus. You can always ask a fish store to give you some or something. A lot of them will probably do it. They'll give you like a nice piece of live rock or something. And I also add some Phyto Feast. I added to my 10-gallon tank, and I added some here, and this provides food for the copepods and stuff, as well as an ammonia source when they die or whatever. I also added fish food and stuff. So yeah, guys, it's pretty much after it's all cleared up. So as you can see, you can barely see my rockscape because this is pretty much how I wanted it. I wanted like a shallow kind of reef kind of feel, so that there's a lot of open space for fish and stuff. So I'm pretty happy with it. It turned out pretty well. As of right now, I'm not using anything for filtration media because nothing fits. I can't find a filter sock that fits. If you guys have this tank and have found filter media that fits, please let me know. But as of right now, I'm working on 3D designing something. I'm going to print it out and just throw it custom caddy and throw it in there and stuff. So with some carbon, like a little baggie of carbon, I pretty much think that's all you really need. I run my Nuvo 10 that way with a filter sock and a baggie of carbon and a little algae scrubber, and it works perfectly fine. I can keep almost anything in there, really. Everything I have thrives, so it really just comes down to good husbandry, honestly. It's just doing your water changes on time and not rushing things. The key factor when people are starting out is not to rush things, so I do recommend you just kind of let the tank sit there for a little while you throw food in there. I hope this was helpful to you guys, and I hope you guys will be joining me in the future. There is a Nuvo 10 update coming out, so be sure to check that out. So you can pretty much get a look at my reef and how I do things and stuff. So with that, if you guys have any more questions that I didn't cover in this video, and you want to see that in a future video, put it in the comment section below. If you guys have any comments at all about this video and how I can make this channel better, also put that in the comment section below. For now, thank you for watching. You guys like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like. I'll see you on the next one then. Peace.